This Sunday on Press Pass, the Drive It Home campaign continues to push General Motors to bring another product to the Lordstown plant. This past week, the city of Warren presented a resolution expressing support for the workers at the plant, and commissioners from Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana counties came together to coordinate a trip to GM's headquarters in Detroit, which will take place early next year. Now, we've been covering this campaign in every step of the way since the announcement was made. Joining me this morning to talk a little bit more about this and the Drive It Home campaign and politics in general, State Senator Joe Schiavone. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
One of the things that we're watching right now, day by day, we're hearing about the Drive It Home campaign. Since GM's announcement, folks are getting behind the company. They're uniting in different ways. Students are getting involved, lawmakers are getting involved. How can people, just sitting at home watching the news, how can our community get involved?
Well, I think the community needs to show the impact. So it's about telling your story, whether you work for General Motors or your neighbor works for General Motors or you work for one of the suppliers. If this happens and they decide not to make a car here, then that's going to blow a huge hole in our economy. So we have to make sure as a community we're putting our best foot forward. That's why you see everybody from the local level to the labor union trying to come together to come up with a plan so that if it's not General Motors and it's not a new car from their line, it's somebody else utilizing that facility and putting our people to work. That's the key, is just putting people to work with good quality jobs.
And you do that how? Social media, using hashtags, getting on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
Yeah, and you can call my office and we can help you do that. I've worked with all the different groups, and I'm going to continue to, whether I'm in office or out of office. But there's federal legislators, the state legislators, the locals, and there's also the workers. And so we're all kind of coming together to put a package together for General Motors or whoever it might be to say, look, we want you here, we need you here, we want to move forward as a community and work hand to hand with you.
Should state lawmakers, even national lawmakers, should they get together and try to find another option in case this doesn't work out, in case this time frame between now and March is just too tight of a time frame to get GM to commit?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to commit between now and March. I mean, there's negotiations with the UAW that starts in the summer because the contract is up in the fall. So I think we're going to find more out at that period. You know, maybe General Motors is using this as a chip in the bargaining process. Now, I don't like that. It's not fair. I don't appreciate it. I've been very clear that, you know, it's about supporting workers and giving them an opportunity, not all about money. But at the end of the day, it is about money when it comes to what that corporation wants to do and whether or not they want to keep that presence here. So we just have to stay positive, but understand that this might just be a ploy for them to try to starve out as many labor unions as they can, make them do as many concessions as possible, and then pick and choose winners come fall.
And this has happened in the past with union talks. It's not, something that's not common. So they have used threats in the past. We just hope that's not something they're doing now. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, I found interesting after the meeting with Mary Barra and some of our other officials in the state of Ohio, there was a comment made by Senator Sherrod Brown and also Rob Portman. And they talked with Mary Barra, with other leaders in that meeting. I want you to listen to something that they had to say and just get your reaction to that. Let's play real quick.
I spoke with the president personally last week on fixing some of these tax issues that I think could make it more likely that they stay here. We need the cooperation of GM and we need the cooperation of the federal government to do this right.
And before this, Portman also went on to say that they were talking, it's about a possibility of another product on the line. So a lot of possibilities, a lot of things that could happen. So do you see this as maybe what's happening behind closed doors? Mary Barra is trying to get federal money, possibly to get Lordstown more support financially.
Well, and they've already got a ton of it. And that was something that I was very frustrated that Sherrod Brown echoed. It was like, look, you got $175 million of taxpayer money at the federal level this year, and then you go ahead and you screw these workers. Not fair. And so in the future, Trump should be dealing with the Senate and the House saying, look, if we're going to have tax incentive packages, that's fine, but you got to do something, corporation. You can't just suck all the money and then hit the road. And so that's the problem that I think we're facing, is that we have loose laws at the top which give the corporations a ton of givebacks without any promises that they're going to do something for their communities, for their workers. And so I think that's what Sherrod Brown's talking about, is coming up with a comprehensive piece to say if we're still going to have tax incentives, there has to be some hooks in it.
And it would set a precedence if we did a lot more for them. So that's something they have to be very careful with, I'm sure, on the federal level.
Yeah, you can't just give it all away.
Right. Now, what about you personally? I know we're looking at your future in politics. You're nearing the end of your term. What do you see yourself doing next?
You know, as long as I can make an impact and help people, I'm going to keep doing it. In the short term, I'll be working at the law firm representing injured workers and doing personal injury stuff and doing some estates and doing some general law stuff. Make sure my dad has made a lot of sacrifices for me, and he's going to retire this year. So we're going to try to modernize the place a little bit and do some things and really kick it into high gear. And so we'll see what happens in politics in the future. But in the short term, I'll be representing injured workers as a lawyer in Austintown.
That'll keep you quite busy. And
Yeah.
we're also going to keep you busy here. You're coming back.
Well, today I'm going to bring the kids to the Cavs game, which will be fun.
Oh, neat. Yeah, get some dad time. All right, Steve, I'll send it to you.